You are Locked On Red Sox Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Boston, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, Kutter Crawford could not make it out of the fourth inning Wednesday night. Red Sox closing out their series with a clunker and losing to the Royals in Kansas City. With that, we welcome you into our latest edition of the Locked On Red Sox Postcast. I'm Steve Lennox, longtime play-by-play announcer, national show host. As a kid of the 1980s, watched Red Sox games on a small black and white TV. Former big league pitcher Scott McGregor used to tell me I had more useless information than any human that he had ever come across. And to this day, I do consider that a compliment. We are providing you with reaction to every Red Sox game on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, as well as a Locked On Red Sox podcast feed, which of course is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. On our latest edition of the Locked On Red Sox Postcast, we are discussing the Sox falling to the Royals in the series finale. Sox unable to pull off the series sweep and close out the road trip with a 5-1 record in Arlington and Kansas City. Plus, we've got our first guest analyst on our Locked On Red Sox Postcast. Friend Chris Carter is going to join us coming up in our second segment, as well as we'll talk about Wednesday's loss to the Royals. Bobby Witt Jr., a thorn in the side all series long, certainly was that for Kutter Crawford and the Red Sox pitchers on Wednesday night. We do want to hear from you, our everydayers and our first-timers. Join the conversation, watching live on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Click the comment button and join the conversation. You have to feel awfully good about going 4-2 against the Rangers and Royals, but understand if you're a bit disappointed with the way things closed out Wednesday night in Kansas City. You can also hit me up on the X, formerly known as Twitter, at Lennox on Baseball. Our latest episode of the Locked On Red Sox Postcast brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedon. Use code, all lowercase, LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. So 5-1 and a sweep of the Royals, that would have been great. Instead, Red Sox take 2 of 3 in Arlington against the Rangers to open up the road trip, take 2 of 3 from the Royals in Kansas City to close out the road trip. Kutter Crawford, so good in 3 straight starts in July, but he has not been good since then over his last 4 outings, and again giving up a home run, 13 total in his last 4 starts. And it was the inning where Crawford got chased from the game. We'll talk with Chris Carter coming up in our next segment, but a leadoff walk and 2 out walks. In baseball, it's cliche, but we know those come back and haunt teams and certainly haunt pitchers along the way. Kutter Crawford down early against the Royals, but in that second inning, a leadoff walk and a 2 out walk, Michael Massey came through with a base hit to make it 2-0. Came through with 2 outs. That leadoff walk came back to spell a little disaster for Kutter Crawford. Then in the fourth inning, he limited the damage in that second inning, giving up just the 1 run. It was a 2-0 ball game at that point. Red Sox, a couple of home runs from Romy Gonzalez and Danny Jansen. We'll touch on that. But in the bottom of the fourth inning, again, a leadoff walk and a 2 out walk. And when you walk Michael Massey in front of Bobby Witt Jr., you're playing with fire. And Crawford got 2 strikes on Bobby Witt Jr., but then he delivered. And that was all for Kutter Crawford. Bobby Witt Jr., 2-run double on a 2-strike pitch. Pitch was out over the plate, up in the zone, just below the belt. Went the opposite way. That was it for Kutter Crawford. His night was done. 5 runs across in that inning, and the Sox end up losing the game 8-4. After the Royals went in front, I felt like the bats just went quiet the rest of the night. A lot of soft contact, not a lot of deep counts. And Cole Reagans, who did pick up the victory, I thought he was sort of on the ropes there. And the Red Sox, I'm not going to say they let him off the hook, but you had opportunities against Reagans. You got the 4 runs and you had a 4-2 lead. But once the Royals went in front against Crawford and chased him from the ball game, with that 5-run fourth inning, the bats quiet the rest of the way. 6 total hits for the Red Sox in what turned out to be a 8-4 loss. But again, you feel good, 4-2. 5-1 would have looked a heck of a lot better. Absolutely 100% on board with that. Mention Romy Gonzalez, 3-run home run, down 2-0, 1 swing of the bat. Romy Gonzalez with a 3-run shot, his second home run of the series. But I wonder this right now. The Red Sox did make some roster moves. We'll touch on those a little bit later on. Romy Gonzalez at second base, the 3-run home run. Danny Jansen, his first home run in a Red Sox uniform, and his home run made it 4-2 in favor of the Red Sox, and that came against Reagans in the top of the fourth inning. And you're thinking, okay, shutdown inning from Kutter Crawford. I mentioned it Tuesday night with Brian Bayo. After your team scores in the top of the inning or the bottom of the inning, your job is to go out there and provide a shutdown inning in the next half inning. Crawford did not do that in the bottom of the fourth inning. News today that Nick Pivetta, and we'll touch on this a little bit later on, he's going to be skipped his next time through the rotation. I wonder, and a little arm fatigue right now for Pivetta. Remember, I've said this. You're adding to the bullpen, Chris Martin back. No rehab assignment for Chris Martin. Did pitch effectively in his one inning out of the bullpen. Sort of a mop-up role, but a good way to get him into a game when you're down 4 runs late. But pitching depth for me is a myth. It doesn't exist. And the way the starters are right now, you have to handle them with kid gloves. And Pivetta's going to miss his next time through the lineup. Alex Cora, or through the rotation. Alex Cora said that prior to Wednesday's game. Kutter Crawford might need to be shut down at some point in time. I know nothing about it, but he may just need to be skipped one time through. Bayo's gone through it. Crawford may need to go through it as well. I don't think you put it all on the Red Sox starting rotation, but this team may go as far as their starters go. And they're showing signs, and they're going to have shorter outings. Alex Cora, Andrew Bailey are going to try to manipulate that bullpen where if they have a lead in the fourth inning, we saw it with Pivetta. Now we know he's got a little arm fatigue. So he did not get the final out in the fifth inning to qualify for the victory his last time out just a few days ago. Now we know he's dealing with a little arm fatigue. But these starters right now have got to grit through it. You want 5. You really want 6. And then you go 3 innings in the bullpen. And now it's going to be a different cast of characters in the bullpen as well. Tough loss, but again, 4-2 road trip. Could have been 11 games over 500 for the second time this year. And if they had picked up the victory, that 5-run inning was doomsday for Kutter Crawford and the Red Sox. If they had picked up the victory, they would have matched and been 11 games over 500 for the second time this year. The first time, that series finale victory just before the All-Star break at Fenway against the Royals. So they could have wrapped up the series with a sweep and gotten to 11 games over 500, the high water mark for the season with a victory Wednesday night. Did not happen. Off day, Thursday, much needed. And it's going to be the last off day for about almost 2 full weeks. I think the next off day is around August 22nd. So off day Thursday, big homestand. 3 with the Astros starting on Friday, 3 with the Texas Rangers as well. That series gets underway on Monday. 4-2 trip, 4-2 against the Royals. So you have the tie cutter come October. Postseason baseball against the Mariners and against the Royals as well. Back to 9 games over 500 overall. 49 games left in the regular season. I still maintain magic number is 90. You need to get to 90 wins. And a game and a half back now, the Royals could have been a half game up going home to open up a 6-game homestand. Instead, you take 2 out of 3. You feel good about that, but a game and a half behind the Royals for that 3rd wild card spot in the American League. Before we hit a break here, a couple of comments on board. Let's get to Andrew the GOAT. Yeah, it is the Red Sox. Yeah, blew the game themselves in that 4th inning. Yeah, and again, it is. It's a tough loss because of what you had in front of you. 5-1 and a sweep of the Royals. Got to do better. Andrew the GOAT, appreciate you checking in with us. Andrew's spot on, 100% right there. Always love hearing from Andrew the GOAT. Again, you can click on the comment section on the Locked On Red Sox postcast feed, part of the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. 5-1 would have looked great. You would have been feeling really good about this. 4-2 is terrific. 5-1 would have been outstanding. Would have just been the icing on the cake. Hey, baseball full swing. We're into August. We're almost at the point where we can call it turn that marathon into a sprint run. But you know what also gets underway this week? Preseason football. Patriots' first preseason game Thursday night, Foxborough against the Carolina Panthers. Mike Debate has you covered with Locked On Patriots. Pat's out of the mix for that big wide receiver, at least for now. Mike has you covered with all the preseason storylines. Locked On Patriots available with Mike Debate wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up, a Locked On Red Sox postcast first. My guy, Chris Carter, is going to join us and discuss the finale where the Red Sox drop an 8-4 decision against the Royals in Kansas City. Still, glass half full. Look at things in a positive fashion. 4-2 trip for the Sox. Locked On Red Sox postcast brought to you by Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, simple, you against the numbers. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of Prize Picks community today. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn your $10 into $1,000. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week. From lowering select player stat projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. Simple. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, the code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, pick more, pick less. It is that easy. Steve Lennox with you. You can hit me up on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Lennox on Baseball. And again, a Locked On Red Sox postcast first as we welcome in our guest analyst, Chris Carter. Chris is joining us, and it is my pleasure to introduce my friend Chris Carter. Chris joins us. He'll give us his thoughts on tonight's series finale in Kansas City for the Sox. Chris, I met him when he served as an assistant coach on the USA Baseball 18U national team, both in 2017 and 2018. We've been friends since. He's worked as an analyst on Greenville Drive broadcast. Drive, we know, advanced day affiliate of the Red Sox in the South Atlantic League. Chris also playing his college baseball at Clemson, and he played pro ball in the Milwaukee Brewers minor league organization. All right, Chris, let's start with thank you so much for joining us here. I've been looking forward to this. Where are you at right now with Kutter Crawford? Because it seems like it's that one inning, and I over the last couple of days, you can give up solo home runs, but when you start walking the ballpark, you're really in trouble. And we saw him do that tonight, and it came back to haunt him.
No doubt about it, Steve. Number one, thank you for having me. We're talking about two of my favorite things, baseball and the Red Sox. So I really appreciate you letting me join the show. And I thought it was interesting tonight listening to Lou Merlone and Joe Castiglione that Kutter Crawford had only walked 2 guys in his last 6 starts. And suddenly tonight he walks 2 in the 4th, end up at walking 4 total in the game. And I think that's really where it fell apart for him. The 4th inning was really devastating, especially when you've got 2 outs. You've got the leadoff hitter in Massey in an 0-2 count. He fouls off a couple fastballs, 3-2, and then we really throw 2 non-competitive pitches, 2 breaking balls. And if I'm looking over in the on deck circle and I'm seeing Bobby Witt, I'm going to see if Michael Massey can hit one over the Mass Turnpike before I throw him 2 breaking balls that really aren't close. And I think for me that was the big moment in the game. And I agree with you what you said earlier. You know, we've talked about a couple of our guys getting a skip and a rotation at this point in the year. Kutter Crawford, to me, looks like he could use a little more rest, just isn't as sharp, doesn't have as good a feel and command of his breaking balls. But, you know, it's a long season, and tonight's just one of those things where we made a few mistakes. They made a few mistakes, but unfortunately the mistakes that the Red Sox made cost us a little bit more. So 4-2. Headed back home to Fenway for a 6-game series against the Astros and the Rangers. Let's get back home and see what happens from there.
What do you make of Andrew Bailey and the Red Sox philosophy of going away from, the four-seam fastball? And we saw it with Paxton the other night, a lot of breaking balls. It's no longer establish the fastball and then bring in the breaking stuff. It's breaking stuff. And, to get a strikeout, you've got to sort of, change the eye level, get them, there's a lot of comfortable at-bats that we see Major League Baseball hitters get these days. Go back to the Yankees series a few weeks ago. But, Crawford, not necessarily a strikeout pitcher, but it's those breaking balls that they continue to go to. Is it time for an adjustment with that philosophy? Well,
for me, as a catcher, 2-2 count was the most important count because it was best on best. It was challenge time. And I think if you're going to throw breaking balls in 2-2 and 3-2, those breaking balls have got to be quality pitches. But for me, according to where you are in the lineup and where you are in the game, 2-2's got to be your money pitch. And you got to try to get off the field, especially with 2 outs. And tonight we just didn't do that. We didn't execute well. We had a couple guys in that fourth, even Melendez, the leadoff hitter in the fourth inning. He was 0-2 at one point. And to me, I would just like to establish the fastball and pick your spots where you throw those breaking balls. I think sometimes we try to get too cute and we try to fool guys and just instead of just challenging them. Hitting a baseball is hard. If you've been around as long as I have, you understand that. So I would just like to see us challenge guys more in even counts so that we don't get hurt in those situations.
Being in the Carolina League for many years, Chris, Leo Mazzoni with the Braves and Bruce Del Canton in the Braves minor league system. The Braves weren't about a curveball or a slider. They were about a good quality breaking pitch. With that, what do you make of the sweeper now? What is the sweeper, and is this pitch too much in the strike zone more often than not?
Well, I always ask kids when I see them, Steve. I ask them, "Hey, what's the best pitch in baseball?" And they'll go through all fastball, curveball, changeup, and then I have to say, no. The best pitch in baseball is strike one. It's a different game when you get strike one. And to me, the sweeper is just another word for slider. Being able to throw a secondary pitch for a strike always gives you an advantage. And it's just funny how this kind of, years ago when you and I were growing up, it was the splitter and Roger Craig and the San Francisco Giants. And now it's just a new phase that we're in. But being able to throw quality pitches and get ahead, that's the name of the game for sure.
Chris Carter, our first ever analyst on our Locked On Red Sox postcast. Chris, again, his credentials, assistant coach with Team USA and the 18U national team back in 17 and 18. That's when we met. Played minor league baseball in the Brewers organization, played his college baseball at Clemson, and also, in that Greenville, South Carolina area. I want to hit on some of these guys that you've seen come through the Red Sox organization through Greenville. Chris has served as an analyst on Greenville Drive broadcasts in the past. But before we hit on that, we sort of touched on it. I think we were going in the same direction, but what I do here in a second segment is the at-bat of the night. What was your at-bat of the night?
For me, you go back to the fourth inning, and it's the walk to Massey. I think after that –
right in front of Witt, yeah.
Yeah, after that, you go 0-2 to Bobby Witt, and 0-2 to Bobby was really a good pitch. And Bobby shortens up. He's trying to find the barrel, puts the ball in play hard down the right field line. 2 runs. We bring in Bernardino, and one of the transactions today was sending Boozer down, who's only given up 1 run in his last 20-something innings. And that was I know he's pitched the last 3 days in a row, so maybe that's part of the transaction today. But then after Bobby Witt's double, first pitch home run to the big left-hander Pasquantino, 2 swings, 4 runs, and suddenly the fourth inning gets away from us, and I think that changed the game for sure.
Yeah, I don't think I was alone in thinking they sent down the wrong left-hander after Pasquantino's home run against Bernardino there.
Yeah, I was shocked to see that as well today.
And we're going to touch on that in segment number 3 as well. Bobby Witt Jr., shame on me for thinking this earlier today. Double 2 home runs in the series finale, and the Royals avoid the series sweep. But I actually thought, and he had productive at-bats. He struck out against Kenley Jansen on Tuesday to end the ball game, and that was my at-bat of the night for Tuesday night. Mm-hmm. But going into the series finale, shame on me for thinking this earlier today. Oh, he's kind of been quiet in this series, even though he had productive at-bats and base hits.
Well, when you're hitting 345 and your second year in the big leagues, you're a candidate for MVP. You're doing a lot of things right. So it was just a matter of time for him to have some good at-bats. And I was very fortunate to spend some time with Bobby. As good of a baseball player as he is, truly a phenomenal kid. And everything that's happened to him, I promise you, he's earned it.
Let's talk about you in the Greenville Drive. You've seen the organization affiliate of the Red Sox for many years now. Some of these guys at the big league level now, Duran spent time there, Raffaello spent time there. What have you liked in observing from an outsider's perspective of what the Red Sox have done at that level to get guys closer and to the big leagues and also be productive in the big leagues?
Well, I'm very fortunate to live in Greenville, South Carolina, and for Fluor Field to open in 2006. and it be the single A affiliate of your favorite team. And then when you go to the ballpark and it's an exact replica of Fenway Park, that's about as good as it can get for minor league. Eric Jarenko, the general manager there, he's done a tremendous job of making it such a community-friendly place. Not only do they have minor league games there, they also have college games, and it's pretty cool. A handful of our high school kids get to play there. But some of the guys that I've seen Nick Sogard in 2001, Rafaela in 2022, Tristan Casas there in 2019, Kutter Crawford in 2018, and Jaron Duran. And if you think Jaron Duran just started running balls out hard, you should have seen him when he was here, because I'm telling you, that guy wakes up and sprints to the refrigerator. It's just been, and you could tell that those guys were really very athletically, their skill set was tremendous. They just needed more experience. They were green. They needed more at-bats. They needed more time. But, man, is it awesome to see those guys early in their career, and you put a star beside their name, and then you get to watch them turn into big league stars. It's just pretty awesome for me.
Chris, one of the things I just thought about, and you mentioned the inaugural season was 2006?
Yes, sir.
So you went from low A in the South Atlantic League to high A. There's right. A difference there. Once you get to that advanced A level,
no doubt,
and it used to be the Carolina League, you're not that far from the big leagues. So there's a big difference between that low A and high A, and you've experienced that in Greenville.
And that was a huge change for Greenville too, Steve, because for many, many years, Greenville was the AA affiliate of the Atlanta Braves. And so you saw Chipper Jones and all those guys come through. And pretty cool for me, the ACC baseball tournament used to be played at the old Greenville Drive Stadium, but that's before Mike Martin and Florida State came into the league, and they thought that Greenville for Clemson was an unfair advantage. So, but no, it is just truly a great place. And one thing for sure, what you see, the velocity is the same, low A and high, but the command is better. And I think that makes the game better. Baseball's an awesome game when you throw strikes, and walks lose games. And every guy that they run out there throws the ball at tremendous velocity. But you do see some guys that are a little more polished, a little more experienced, and just another step closer to achieving their dream of playing in the major leagues.
One more for you, Chris, and then we'll hit segment number 3 where I do numbers of the night, but I'll give you a number of the night. I maintain 90 victories get you a wild card spot in the American League. Agree or disagree? Does it have to be higher?
No, I think 90 is the button. I think that should be our goal. That should be what every team is shooting for. That should be the expectation. And as soon as you get to 90, then let's talk about more than 90. But let's get to 90 first. And the sooner you get to 90, then you can start changing your situation and maybe, getting a home game here or doing some other things. But I totally agree with you. There's a lot of baseball left. And even though we lost tonight, we wanted to go 5-1. Hey, 4-2 is not bad. There's still a lot of baseball to be played. And let's get back home, have a good day off, and build on this momentum, because I'm telling you, this team is averaging the last 5 or 6 games 7.5 runs a game. I mean, we have just been pounding the baseball. So I like the trade moves that we made. I think we've added some arms on the back end of the bullpen to help us hold the line in 7, 8, and 9 and get that ball to Kenley Jansen. And so I'm excited, as excited today as I was before the break.
Great stuff. We'll do this again. Always appreciate you taking the time, and always appreciate the baseball conversation.
Awesome, Steve. Go Sox.
Chris Carter joining us, our first guest analyst on the Locked On Red Sox postcast. Chris does a great job. He's a friend. He really is. Back in 17 and 18, we met with USA Baseball events. I was doing games for MLB.com and MLB Advanced Media, and Chris was a great big kid. He's got ties to Matt Blood, who now works in the Orioles system. He actually coached Matt Blood, and Matt brought him in for 17 and 18. He was part of the staff, and remember seeing him in the dugout in Minneapolis before we went over to Target Field for the 18U national team, and just a terrific person and wealth of knowledge, as we got right there with our buddy Chris Carter. All right, roster moves, as Chris alluded to, and we've touched on it as well. Chris Martin back activated, no rehab assignment. He was strong. And Mr. Boozer going back down to the minor leagues, a left-hander. One lefty right now for the Sox in the bullpen, but we'll make a reference on the Nesson broadcast coming up in segment number 3. Hey, Locked On Red Sox postcast brought to you by Liquid IV. When you're talking about America's pastime, don't forget to hydrate with Liquid IV's popsicle firecracker flavor, a surefire summer hit. Get hydrated with electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powered hydration brand in America, because baseball and summer go together like Liquid IV and indulgent hydration. Blast off with the iconic summer flavor, a popsicle firecracker, a festive blend of citrus-fueled lemon lime, tart cherry, and raspberry flavors. Find all of your favorite flavors on their website, from acai berry to lemon lime to pina colada. Tear, pour, live more. 1 stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients. Always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. No more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com. Use the code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using the promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. Steve Lennox with you. You can follow me on the X at Lennox on Baseball. Subscribe to our Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Subscribe there. And we're going to start with some shorts here at some point. Just have not gotten to it. Want to make it something that we do consistent the rest of the way with the Locked On Red Sox postcast. So again, we appreciate Chris Carter for joining us. We are going to get into numbers of the night in just a moment. We do thank our sponsors, Prize Picks and Liquid IV. Steve Lennox with you, Locked On Red Sox postcast, part of the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, your team every day. Tyler O'Neill on the injured list. Did not play over the last couple of days in Arlington, did not appear in any of the games in the series, was ill over the weekend, and actually ends up with an infection in his left leg, his lower calf. Expected to be able to return when he's eligible to come off the injured list. And Manuel Valdez, recalled from AAA. He was in the dugout and available for the Red Sox on Wednesday night in the finale, so he makes the trip out to Kansas City and goes right back and has an off day with the Red Sox on Thursday. We mentioned Nick Pivetta is going to be skipped his next time through the rotation. That again from Alex Cora prior to Wednesday's series finale against the Royals. Arm fatigue right now, velocity down a little bit his last time out. We'll see if it's just that one start that he's going to miss. Come back refreshed and ready to go. Chris Martin activated from the IL. Last pitched on July 3rd against the Marlins in Miami prior to his outing Wednesday night. The veteran pitcher knows himself, right? He knows himself. Don't need to go out on a rehab assignment. I'm with the team. I'm ready to go. I've rebounded from my bullpen sessions, my long toss, all the process to work back up, ramp back up to be available. Struck out 3 and working a 1-2-3 bottom half of the 8th inning. And really it was kind of ideal to get him in a situation like that. Because if that's a 1-run ball game, 8th inning, he might not be in there. You may not think that he's going to be as effective as he was. But he gets his inning. Next time, you would expect Chris Martin to be in a high leverage situation. Now, Cam Boozer, option to AAA. That's a tough one. I think our first NESN reference, Will Middlebrooks and Mike Monaco doing the series on NESN Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in Kansas City. And Will Middlebrooks mentioned it. It was a tough one for Alex Cora to bring Cam Boozer in and say, hey, we're sending you down. But he's going to be a part of what the Red Sox do going forward. Absolutely. A little over 8 weeks left in the regular season. Less than that now. Boozer's going to be back, and he's pitched very well. He's had a solid rookie season. Charged with a run Tuesday night. Just 2 runs allowed, though, in his previous 20 outings. 29 scoreless outings on the season. He's been terrific for them in that lefty role. And Bernardino, 1 pitch and a victory. That's nice in this series against the Royals, but you gave up that home run to Pasquantino. You're in to get the left-handed batter out. If you're not going to get lefty batters out, it might be a flip-flop. Numbers of the night. 13 home runs allowed now by Kutter Crawford over his last 4 outings. Just the 1, but it was enough, and he got chased after giving up the 6 earned runs total in his outing in the 5-run 4th inning for the Royals on Wednesday night. So, Royals, 3 home runs total Wednesday night. And Crawford giving up The one home run. Let me make sure I got that right. Yeah, the one home run. Bernardino gave up the home run. Winkowski gave up the second home run to Bobby Witt Jr. as well. But the Royals, or the Red Sox pitchers now, 3 home runs allowed Wednesday night, 27 home runs allowed now over the last 13 games. These numbers aren't pretty. Gave up 8 home runs in the Rangers series, took 2 out of 3. Give up 5 home runs to the Royals over 3 games, take 2 out of 3. 40 home runs now allowed. Okay, 40 home runs allowed. I'm going to give you the number. 40 home runs allowed, and take the over or under here. 40 home runs allowed. This number is not right, number of games, but take the over or under. 40 home runs allowed in the last 20 games. Gave you enough time. The under. 40 home runs allowed, actually, in the last 18 games total. It's a lot of home runs. And Kutter Crawford, we know now, Kutter Crawford has given up a lot of those. This is a number, my last one here. This is a number that I haven't really wanted to share because I don't want to jinx it. I really don't. 4 runs, and the Red Sox have been a team scoring 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 runs since the All-Star break. 4 runs total. They did get on the scoreboard against Cole Reagans. Had a chance to knock him out of the game before the 5th inning. Did not happen. But the Red Sox have now gone. And I say this with some trepidation because I don't want to jinx it, and the Astros are coming to town. The Astros seem like they have a no-hit bid every couple of weeks. Framber Valdez lost his against the Rangers in Arlington. Corey Seager touched him up with a 2-out home run Tuesday night. But the number is 56. The Red Sox have now gone 56 straight games without being shut out. Last time they were shut out, you have to go back to May 30th at home at Fenway against the Detroit Tigers. So numbers of the night, and now we get into what's on tap. Off day Thursday. Yeah, you're going to get in about 4 or 5 in the morning. This is baseball. This is baseball. They're on a plane. It's a charter. It's a little bit easier than being on the buses in the minor leagues. Off day Thursday, first of 3 with the Astros on Friday at Fenway Park. Ronel Blanco, no-hitter earlier this year against the Blue Jays, against Tanner Houck. That's the pitching matchup game 1. Now it's TBA because Pivetta was scheduled to go Saturday in game 2. Spencer Arrighetti, a rookie, he's had a couple of good outings, but he's had some outings where their final line's been absolutely ugly. Arrighetti, TBA right now for the Red Sox on Saturday. Hunter Brown, James Paxton. That's your pitching matchup for the finale on Sunday. 3 with Houston, then 3 with the Rangers. That series underway on Monday at Fenway Park. So the Red Sox win Friday night gets the Red Sox to 500 at Fenway Park for the second time this year. They've not been above 500 at home at any point this season. Got to 25-25, lost, and right now a game under 25, under 500 at home for the season. And again, remind you that the Red Sox have not been above 500 at any point this season at Fenway Park. 3 against the Astros, 3 against the Rangers. We will be on within minutes of the last out Friday night from Fenway after the ball game is over in the series opener. Again, a thank you to our guest and our friend Chris Carter, our first guest analyst on our Red Sox, our Locked On Red Sox postcast. And our Locked On Red Sox postcast, again, reminder, does follow each and every Red Sox game all season long. We do thank you for making Locked On Red Sox your first listen every day on the podcast, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to our Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel as well. Again, Friday night, Red Sox home, first of 3 against the Astros. We'll go live within minutes of the last out with our latest edition of the Locked On Red Sox postcast. Locked On Sports Boston, your number one place to hang out immediately after every game. Locked On Sports, your team every day.